What's going on, everyone? LA Sports back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Plan B for the Toronto Blue Jays, as Juan Soto has signed last night with the New York Mets for 15 years, $765 million, as he moves from the Yankees to the Mets. And the Blue Jays miss out on, yet again, another generational superstar 2 years in a row. But you can't fault the Jays. They tried their best. They gave him a boatload of money, and it just wasn't enough. Soto wanted to be a Met, and he ultimately is a Met now. He got paid, he got his money, but the Jays are not afraid of spending. And that brings me into my first point of the Jays' plan B is going to be different than last year. First of all, the market this year is a lot better. There's way more talent this year. There are more names, better names. The trade market is decent. And it all starts with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They need to bring back Vladdy. There's no question about it. The Jays need to extend Vladdy. They need to lock him up here long term. And at this point, if it takes $500 million, it takes $500 million. You cannot play with fire. And ultimately, I don't even think Guerrero would sign the deal. You see what just happened with Juan Soto. Why wouldn't Guerrero test the open market? Why wouldn't he hit free agency? But the Jays have to do their very best to try and get him to not go, because if they do, they're going to pay an arm and a leg. So I would give Vladdy right now whatever he wants and keep him here in Toronto. That's the first thing. That should be the Jays' first thing. And then Santander and Burns. There's a lot of names. Max Fried's another one, but it seems like Hernandez is another one, but it seems like the most likely guys for the Jays is Anthony Santander and Corbin Burns, and hopefully the Jays can get them. I still think the Jays are going to spend a lot of money this offseason. They need to improve their bullpen. They need to improve with some power. They can use one more starting pitcher, and they need to retain what they have, which is Vladdy, of course. But I think they're going to end up with two or three decently sized names. I think they're going to end up with Santander. I really do think he's going to be a Blue Jay. And then Corbin Burns, I don't know if he's going to be a Jay, but I know the Jays are really pushing hard for Corbin Burns. And it came out this morning that Ken Rosenthal, a very, very, very reliable source, said, I expect the Blue Jays to put together a monster offer for Corbin Burns. A lot of other guys saying, they think that it's a perfect match. And it makes a lot of sense, and Corbin Burns is for the idea of coming to Toronto. Him and Santander together would be amazing for the Jays, but we'll ultimately see what happens. I think the Jays are going to sign two or three big-name guys. I still think they're going to spend around $350 this offseason, as crazy as that sounds, without being one big name. I think they're going to sign two or three guys, and I think they're going to ultimately spend $350 million or so on bringing in free agents, and then possibly even Vladdy. But we'll see what happens with Vladdy. They need to get the next big guy. They cannot miss on a Burns, on a Santander, on a Max Fried, on a Teoscar Hernandez, even a Pete Alonso. They cannot miss. They need to bring guys in. And then you look to the trade market, where there's a guy on that trade market that I absolutely love, and there are some there's some buzz about him to the Blue Jays and him being traded, really. Devin Williams of the Milwaukee Brewers. He is a stud. He's a guy who can be used as a setup man. He can be used as a closer. And then there's guys on the free agent market to help your bullpen. There's Carlos Estevez. There's Kenley Jansen. There's Tanner Scott. There are a number of names that can help the bullpen. The Jays are extremely thin in the bullpen. That's probably their biggest weakness. So they need to attack that, whether that be in free agency or via the trade. Jordan Romano is still of course an option, but I think first you need to worry about getting a bat, getting a power bat, and then getting a Burns or a Fried, and then you resort to the bullpen, because that. Ultimately, there's the most names there, and guys will stick around for a while, and there's, of course, Devin Williams via the trade. So I think the Jays are in a decent spot right now, but their plan B needs to be sharp. They need to get guys. They need to get at least a guy, a big guy. They need to not be able to strike out again, and they need to have a better plan B than they did last offseason, because that was a horrible plan B. They put all their chips into the Ohtani basket, and I think this year they put a lot of chips into the Juan Soto basket, but you see, even with their interest in Juan Soto. They met with Burns. They met with Fried. They're interested in Santander. You didn't hear any of that last year while the Ohtani stuff was going on. It was all about Ohtani. I think the Jays backed off a bit on Soto this year. I think they tried their very best, and they fell short. But I think the Jays are going to get a name or two, and then even a Yoan Moncada or a Gleyber Torres or a Hae-Sung Kim. There are big names this free agency, and the Jays need to get a few of them. And we'll ultimately see what happens. But I think their plan B this year will be a very strong one. We'll ultimately see what happens. You guys let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on the Jays not getting Soto, him going to the Mets for 15 years and $765 million. You guys let me know all that good stuff in the comment section. Who are the Jays going to come out with in free agency? Let me know down in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. See you guys on the next video. And as always, let's go Blue Jays.